YouTube Wednesday. Oh. Does your set lack sparkle? Does your display lack disgust? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you would be surprised and amazed to find out how often the answer is vomit. So I'm going to show you guys how to make some good vomit for your set work. Number of simple ingredients. I got these in between Home Depot and the grocery store. Bean soup mix. This is going to be a staple of our vomit. This is the vaguely unidentifiable chunks that always floats around really good vomit. So I'm going to put this into a bowl. Batch number one, I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways. Batch number one, I'm going to use simple polyurethane. Polyurethane by itself is very thin. I don't want it to be very thin, so I'm going to thicken it up with some cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to help the polyurethane to become a little bit thicker, and it's going to break up a little bit of that real translucency that it has. It's going to have a little bit of translucency still, but it's not going to have near the same quality that it did before. And it's going to keep adding cornstarch. This is shop cornstarch, by the way. This will never be in a kitchen. That's why I'm going directly from my cup here into my cornstarch. Otherwise, doing this here would be a no-no. And the cornstarch also, I'm not going to whip it to the point where it kills all the chunks, because I want some of those cornstarch chunks too, so it's another good unidentifiable bit. I'm going to add some food coloring. This is the simple 3-pack. Open this up here. This time, I'm not terribly concerned with the red. What I really want, the star of this, there we go. The star of this is going to be the yellow. And I poked a hole in the bottom of my cup, so I've got to switch it out. Because good vomit has a from the stomach warmth going on. So I'm giving it a good mix just to get that color right. And I'm going to add this to the bean soup. And now, what I've got is pretty good, but I'm going to keep giving it some color, alright? Add a little bit of red. And you've got to mix it really well for the food coloring to mix in with the polyurethane, because they don't want to mix. It's water-based food coloring and oil-based polyurethane. 15 bean soup mix looks pretty good. I'm going to add some more cornstarch now because I want it a little bit thicker. Now, ordinarily I wouldn't use any food product in almost anything, but the polyurethane is going to coat all these beans, and it's going to completely saturate all the cornstarch. So there's not going to be anything here for them to eat or smell. And the dried stuff is a lot safer than anything wet, like corn syrup would be, if you were using that in your blood. All right, I'm going to go a little thicker still. And I can use cornstarch, I can use talcum powder, I can use plaster dust if I want to. Doesn't matter what I use here to thicken up my vomit. And I might even mix it up because I've got some baby powder over there. because it might clump in a different and special way. Alright, a little bit of baby powder. It's good for you. It's good for your vomit. Now the polyurethane is going to dry. But I need it a little thicker. I got some good hang time on it now, but I still want it thicker. Because I want to be able to put this down and I want it to stay. How well it sticks is very good. Side note about your vomit, the finer the things it's on, the better it looks. Vomit on a paper plate, not that impressive. But vomit on china, that says something to people. Vomit on burlap, not that bad. But vomit running down the front of a leather jacket, that looks pretty good. That's much better and much more believable vomit. I'm going to put a little bit of this vomit on this plate so you guys can see it. And when this runs around and spreads out, I'm going to pour a little bit of that polyurethane off. Keep the chunks. I'm going to get a good close-up of that style of vomit for you. When properly applied and spread out, it's going to look really good and really nasty. Alright, that's just a nice, nasty vomit. The polyurethane will dry and turn kind of plastic-like. So let's move this formula aside. Add some ingredients. Before, what I had was a bean soup mix. Alright? It's got a bunch of different kinds of bean. It's great for big chunks. What I have now is a wild rice mix. A gourmet blend of wild rice and whole grain brown rice. It has a bunch of different textures in it. It's got different colored rices. And that is really what I'm looking for here, is those textural differences. Great for a kitchen scene, great for a bathroom scene. It's vomit. And because these are so small, these are really going to help me thicken this up also. So you saw vomit 1. I think I'm pretty good on the color right now. I'm digging that. And I'm getting this all mixed in. So I'm probably a little bit on the chunky side right now. But it's very hard to tell what any of that stuff is. The black rice is almost unidentifiable. Let me show you what the on a plate. Looks best on a plate. And whenever you apply it, don't just pour it into the center of the plate. Whoever's yakking, they don't aim that good. So you got to get some, kind of trailing off, like they missed a little bit. Let me get you a good close-up of this, because I'm actually pretty proud of my vomit recipes. A little bit of vomity love right there. That's good for you. Alright, and make sure you hit it on something so there was obviously a target for their spray, and then it spreads out. It's good against a wall, sliding down. This is one way to do it. I'll show you another great way also. This vomit here, this can of polyurethane, is about $10. I spent maybe $4 on the rest of it, and this will make a bunch of vomit. This is a little more involved recipe, but I really like the results. I'm going to use for this, sometimes it's called Barcote, B-A-R-K-O-T-E. It's the same stuff. Basically, it's a clear acrylic resin. This is the Home Depot stuff you can get. It's called Parks Super Glaze. This is about 20 bucks. In here, you get A and B. And I even guessed right. All right, A and B. There are instructions. I'm not too worried about the instruction because I'm making vomit and it's really hard to mess that up. It's going to be even amounts of A and even amounts of B. I'm using cups that have the graduations on the side, so that way I can go up to the same line on each cup and know that I'm putting in the same amount. Now, if I were doing it for a costume, this is what I would do, because this is going to dry, it's going to dry firmer. This is the stuff they cover bar tops with. So it's going to be all mixed in with the beans. It's going to be hard and rigid, but it's going to stay looking really glossy, and it's going to apply well. So I'm going to pour that, and this starts nice and thick. It's another thing that I like about this. I'm just going to go up to that line. Going to make a good bit of vomit. If you're going to skimp, don't do it on your vomit. My kicking time here is about 20 minutes. So I'm actually going to mix this a little bit ahead of time. I'm going to put down a couple bowls in case it eats through it a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and pour these up double. Go ahead and mix it with a clean mixing stick. So I'll use the other side. Alright, I'm just whipping these together. And these take about 15 or 20 minutes to cure. And this already has kind of a yellowy color, but remember, it's going to kick clear. So this is going to kind of burn off this amber color, and I don't want to forget that. So I'm going to add a bit to its color. And again, this is the water base, so it's not going to mix with it. I have to really shake this up to break up those droplets and trap it inside. Once I get all that trapped, it is going to affect my color. But it won't affect my mix. It's not chemically mixing. I'm just dispersing the little globs. And that is a very bright, nice vomit color. I'm going to tone that down now with some more bean soup. That's going to go in here. It has some good colorful chunks, a little bit of yellow in there, some tiny dots of green. And I'm a bit too translucent, so I want to give it some cloudiness. So I'm going to put in a little more cornstarch. I'm not doing it for thickness now. Now I'm just doing it for the cloudiness of it. And I probably have a bit too small of a bowl. But hey, if a little vomit spills over, no big deal. That's what shop towels are for. Boy, do I have shop towels. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mix this with my hand a little bit. But you can see now I have got a pretty good vomit consistency that's not all clear like it was before. Now I've got some good chunks. And the cornstarch has toned down that orange that I had before and gave it a good inner body yellow, which we like. So this vomit is going to harden. Whatever I put it on, it's going to dry. It's A and B, it's a chemical reaction. It's kicking right now, even as we speak. It takes a while, it takes about 20 minutes. But now I can spread it around some plates. I'll show you this vomit on a plate. And that just poured off a lot of the top because the beans don't float in this. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Put in a chunkier version here. There we go. Get some good beans in that. And again, I don't want to pour too much of this on my table because it's going to harden, and I've got to be careful of that. So I'm going to. And this is already firming up. It's thickening up. And that's just a good vomit mix. It's got big pieces, it's got little pieces. I'm going to go ahead and add in some of the rice mixture. I'm just going to do that right on the surface here. Make sure it's all good and coated, that way mice don't want it. Once it's got a layer of polyurethane on it, which is what this is. It's an acrylic. Once it's got a layer of acrylic on it, nothing really wants to eat it. I believe that came out of a human body. You would not have to work hard to convince me that it did. Give it a little bit of a run. Runs well. Your thinner vomit's going to stay up here towards the top. Your thicker vomit is going to run down. And you've got thin leading a chase down there also. It's got pretty good slide on it. And that just bought me time there. Add a little bit more of the thin stuff. But sets, you can apply this as many times as you want. Alright? And I think this could probably use a little bit more cornstarch maybe, but that's personal taste. This is kind of a bile-y vomit. Good stuff. This is our polyurethane vomit. It took the color a little less evenly, and I kind of like all those dots that we have. And you can kind of see as it pours back and forth. Are you not going to hurl, are you?
No.
Okay. You can get as chunky a vomit as you like, or as thin of a vomit as you like. If you want thicker and less translucent, you just add more cornstarch. Play with the ingredients till you get the look you like, but you want a polyurethane or a bar coat. And our bar coat is now leaking a little bit, which is kind of bad because that could stick to the table. That's got good syrupy elasticness to it. And you really want to you always want when you put vomit, you don't just pour it in a bowl. You want to miss your target a little bit so there's kind of a trail, like, you know, because no one ever finishes all at once. And as this thickens, you're able to move it and manipulate it a little bit more, and it'll stay. If you time it just right, you can get the drip going off the edge of the bowl, and it'll stay there forever. So, 2 mixes, a polyurethane, and a bar coat mix of vomit. Because this is going to dry firm, you can actually put it on the floor on a set that they're walking through. So they'll step in it, but it'll be hard, but it'll look good, and you can cause someone to walk around the big vomit pile, which is always fun because this stuff stays super glossy when it dries.
God, it smells so bad.
Hey Jay?
Yeah.
You want to come see vomit?